Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything. I'm coming at you with another Let's Talk video. This is a recap of a few different games. I think it's 3 games thrown into one of our D&D campaign. I'm calling it our Oakhurst campaign because I'm centering it around a village of Oakhurst. Okay, so I'm going to recap the first couple of I'm going to recap the whole thing, but I'm going to go into detail on the ones I think that I missed. Okay, the party formed in Waterdeep in the Yawning Portal. And at the Yawning Portal, they were told of a evil tree and a goblin curse or something in the north near Neverwinter in a town called Oakhurst. And so the party got together, got on a boat, traveled up the coast to Neverwinter, and then from Neverwinter they moved into Oakhurst, where they discovered that there was a old dragon cult castle that had fallen into a crevice after Mount Hotenau erupted, and that was a few hundred years ago. But in that castle is a tree that produces apples, and these apples are brought by goblins to the village for sale, and that a party of adventurers went into this, a previous party of adventurers went into this castle to find out the cause of what was going on. Basically try to discover what the tree was all about. They heard there was some evil happening down there, and so they go on down. That was like a month before the players get there. The local merchant says that her children were in that party and that they haven't returned, and that was a month ago, and she fears for their life. So she asks the players to go see what's going on with her children. So her there was a paladin and a ranger with her children, and her children were probably fighters and a fighter and a mage. Okay, and so the players go to this place, and it's called the Sunless Citadel. It was one of the very first 3rd edition modules. It's been reprinted in the Yawning Portal, Tales from the Yawning Portal for 5th edition, and that's what we're running. And so they go in, and they make a long story short, they find kobolds, and these kobolds are friendly, and they just want their dragon rescued, and they assign this kobold character, Meepo, to help them, and they have to go into the goblin portion of the keep where all the evil is happening. So the players go into the goblin portion. They find the dragon. The dragon comes out and is extremely mad at the goblins for having enslaved them, but he's also mad at Meepo because Meepo was his attendant, but the dragon was imprisoned in a cage. So didn't like Meepo. So the first thing it did was kill Meepo. And so the players were like, whoa, what's going on? And then as soon as the dragon realized that Meepo was with the players as their friend, guide, or what have you, the dragon attacks the players. Now, luckily, it's only a little wormling, which is a relatively easy dragon to kill. It's like a small lizard. So they dispatch the dragon. Okay, but they still haven't found the missing adventurers, and they haven't found the tree. So they dig deeper. They go into the goblin area. They fight a lot of goblins, and then they go into there's a pit in the hole. There's a hole in the ground, a pit that goes down about 60 feet. So they climb down into that pit. It has tree branches and stuff growing along the side, so it's real easy to climb down. You know, like like Jack and the Beanstalk, but just opposite. So they go down into this hole and they find that there's goblins living down there. But there's also like bugbears and hobgoblins or whatever. But they dispatch any of the bad goblins that they find, and some of the non-combatants. They kill a few of like the seamstresses and the winemakers and stuff. Okay, we won't get into all that, but they basically kill all of them. And then they find an orchard or a grove with trees growing underground, and there's luminescent fungus and stuff like that. And they, through a long story, trying to make a long story short, they find a druid, Belak. He was at the tree, and he had two of the party members that they were trying to rescue. They had the paladin and the wizard with him. Earlier, the players had found a dead ranger. Okay, the brother is missing, the fighter, but Belak says the brother was used as fertilizer for the tree, and then and the paladin and the wizard daughter is mind controlled by this tree, and there's twig blights and a giant frog and a lot of different things, and so there's a big fight. Right? Their wizard, Noctis, uses his fire spells on the tree to destroy the tree. Leighton, the halfling thief, is sneaking around on the sides trying to do a little reconnaissance and sneak attack from the side, while their fighter, and they have like three fighters right in the middle. They got the half-orc fighter, the human fighter, and then the squire. They're right in the middle fighting it up, and then there's a monk kind of bouncing around doing his thing. And make a long story short, they beat them, right? And by killing the tree, the paladin and the wizard daughter just die. And then they take their body, or not their bodies, but takes her body back, the daughter's body, and they recover the magical sword off the paladin, and they go back to town. The merchant pays them their 125 gold for recovering whatever rings they found, and then also pays them their 125 gold for bringing her body back. And then they have a celebration. Not a celebration, but like a funeral for the daughter, and then at least she knows what happened to her son, and so basically they understand what's going on, and so they're real happy with the players, and the players stay there for about a week or whatever, transferring spells into their spell book, or getting armor worked on. They've got this one guy put in a down payment for like half of plate armor to get some plate, and basically they just chill at this village. And then we get a new player in the group who made a Dragonborn wizard. So we bring this Dragonborn wizard into the group, and also one of our players, the cleric, had to bow out because of work-related interfered with the game. So with him gone, the wizard, not the Dragonborn wizard, but the other wizard, bowed out as well, because he I don't know how else to say this, but drama, right? There is the two wizards out of the game, not in the game, but out of the game. The two wizards have an issue, right? One of the wizards, the original wizard, has an issue with the new wizard. And the new wizard does not have an issue with the original wizard. It's all one way. This strife is all directed one way. And the only reason why that wizard was playing, my understanding is because the cleric was playing. And when the cleric said that he was going to bow out, the that wizard felt like he wasn't. He felt uncomfortable at the game, let's say. I'm not exactly sure what the story is, but he decided, because he was feeling uncomfortable at the game with this other wizard being in the game, that he was going to bow out as well. Okay, so we had lost our wizard and our original cleric, and so we were basically down to 5. They decide and if you feel uncomfortable coming to a game, I don't want you to be here. I'm not here to tie you down to the seat and force you to play a game. If you feel uncomfortable, just tell me you feel uncomfortable and don't come, right? So, okay. So then we continue on, and we move on to the new wizard shows up, and he presents them with a quest. This quest is to go to this dwarven forge that has been taken over by orcs and go inside and recover whatever loot you can, because that's really all it is just loot the grave, loot the forge for any dwarven artifacts or anything like that. Bring it back and basically keep it out of the orcs' hands. And so they go, and they're told they can keep whatever they can pull out, just keep it out of the orcs' hands, basically. So they go into this keep, and this one game was a running battle. I thought this was pretty cool. They sneak up to these two orc guards at the door, right? These two orc guards are talking amongst themselves about the weather or whatever they're talking about, and they're looking out over this cliff, because this thing's on part of a mountain cliff. There's a door on the side of it, and these two guys are looking out over the woods and stuff, and they're coming up a trail along the side of the mountain. They get pretty close. I mean, you could easily see them if the orcs were looking, and they can easily hear them if the orcs were listening, but they're in the middle of a conversation. They're not paying any attention. If the players wanted, they could have just snuck right up to them and just knifed them, or they could have snuck up right. They probably could have just snuck past them, but no. The half-orc says, "Hey, brothers." No, you're a half-orc. You're not an orc, right? But he says, "Hey, brothers," and the orcs look. So far, so good. These two orcs see a party of 6, because the wizard was still with them. Both wizards were playing at that time. The party of 6, and then the elf in the party, which is a monk, but the elf pulls his bow out. And the orcs, what were they to think? Right? They don't know these guys, and one of them's getting ready to attack them with a bow. And so they go running into the keep, and they're screaming their lungs off, saying, "We're under attack, we're under attack." In orc, of course, but they're screaming, "We're under attack, we're under attack." And so the players go, "Oh crap, we got to go chase them. We got to keep this from happening," right? Because now they're alerting all the orcs. So they chase in after them, and they run past these arrow slits. And there are orcs waiting for them to shoot arrows out of these arrow slits. And so they get attacked by arrows when they run by an arrow slit. And then a couple of the fighters will stop at the arrow slits and try to kill the orc on the other side, while the rest of the team just keeps chasing after these two orcs that are running. And they kill the guys behind the arrow slits, and they catch up, because the orcs get to a door where they try to close the door, and the players run up to the door. Well, they do. They successfully close the door. The players run up to the door, and they force it open, because it's extremely hard. It's like a strength 30 check or something like that. But they made it. And with two people giving assistance, or with a crowbar or something, I don't remember, but they were able to break it open. And then on the other side, they see these two orcs running down the hall. But first, they have to cross a very rickety rope bridge. And so they start crossing the rope bridge, and there's two other orcs over there shooting arrows at them. And one of them has a great axe. He runs up to the rope bridge, and he starts chopping on the rope. and I rolled like ones or whatever, because you have to roll like an AC 10 to hit it, and then it has to do like 15 points of damage, which it would have taken like 2 hits to cut through it. But I rolled like a 1, so they missed. And then the halfling just ran across like he had no problem. And then one of the fighters runs across, and then the wizards are over there trying to cast like light and stuff like that over there for the halfling and the fighter. The halfling has a candle that has a spell cast on it. It's a magical candle, it has a spell cast on it, continual flame or something like that. So it's like it's always a torch. It sheds torchlight even though it's a candle, and he carries it in his pocket. So it's like a flashlight, right? I thought that's nice. That came out of the Sunless Citadel. Okay, so they dispatch those 2 orcs, but the other 2 orcs, the ones that are yelling bloody murder, have already ran, right? So they go, okay, let's continue to follow these guys. We got to stop them. And so but because of all the stoppages that they've had, they got to stop the guys with the arrow slits. They had to break open the door. They had to defeat the guys across the chasm with the rope bridge. Because of those stoppages, it was those other 2 bloody murder screaming orcs were able to actually rally some of the orcs into a fighting, like a room ready to fight back. And there was a Orog and like 11 orcs in there, right? So the party comes in and they get ready to fight this Orog and these orcs, and they just unload with everything they got at the Orog, and the Orog goes down on round 1. He just like dies. But one of the wizards puts grease in the hallway right in front of the players. So if the orcs want to come to the players, they have to get through the grease, and they slip on the ground and fall and all that stuff. And that was going on. People were jumping across the grease because you can jump your strength score as long as you get a 10-foot run. And most people have more than a 10-foot. Most people can jump further than 10 feet, and so better than 10 strength. So there was fighting going on both sides. Even the halfling was over there fighting, killing people with his rapier. Okay. So they dispatched these orcs. I thought it was going to be hit or miss, but they dispatch them. And then that was a good long time of chase, fight, chase, fight, chase. It was like a nonstop one melee, round, one melee all the way through. But once they got those guys down, then they discovered a couple of farmers that were there from a local farmstead. They sent them home. They said, go this way and you'll be able to get out. They go through another door, and they basically they find orcs, and they don't find orcs. They find, what do they find? They find an empty room that leads back to the front. It looked like a barracks. And then they find a pit trap with some gas, but that doesn't hurt anybody. And then they find some flour. So the wizard picks up a bag of flour, and apparently he had told me that he was going to, as soon as the door was open, he was going to throw it in. But I think what he was trying to do was cause this bag of flour to break, causing a cloud of flour, and then he was going to light it on fire with like a firebolt or something like that. Okay, well, through the excitement and the preparation for what was getting ready to come into that room, I didn't hear that. I knew he had the bag of flour, and I knew what he was thinking of doing, but I didn't hear the part where he said, as soon as the door is open, I'm going to throw it in. I never heard that. So the door opens, and then I said, okay, you see this ogre and these 2 dire wolves. Let's go ahead and roll initiative. And he goes, well, let's not roll. I should be able to throw my bag of flour before we roll initiative. And I was like, what? No, you got to do it during your initiative turn, right? And you got to do it during your turn, And then the wizard he had problems with, apparently, stepped up and said, "Hey, Derek, I think I heard him. He said that he was going to throw it in as soon as the door was open." Backing him up, right? And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, if you heard it, then and I mustn't just not have heard it or something." And so he got a little upset. I don't know if he got upset because I took this other person's word for it, or if, or what, right? And so, but that's basically the straw that broke the camel's back on him. He said, "Okay, well, that's it for me. Basically, I'm not going to throw the flower. I give up." Basically, and I was like, "What the heck's going on here?" I didn't even suspect there was anything going on outside of character, right? They had like a out of character disagreement at some point. I don't know. And so I said, "Okay, if you don't want to throw the bag, then don't throw the bag. It's all good." So he just drops it on the floor, and then everybody charges in and fights the dire wolves and the ogres, or the one ogre. Okay, and they dispatch him. There was a discussion on how big a dire wolf should be. You know how players are. And so once that was over, that was pretty much the end of the session. And the next week, this is the next week, that wizard character said, "I've got things that came up. I can't come and play." I wished that wizard had approached me as the dungeon master, as a friend. I thought I was his friend. Now I feel like I'm not his friend. I feel like he, I feel slighted in a way, but and he approaches the cleric and tells him that he'll only come back when he comes back. He didn't tell me this. He didn't say a word to me. What he texted me and said was, "Something came up. I can't come to the game." I feel uncomfortable with that. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. So, but there's something going on there. I'm going to have to find out. Yeah. I don't have any problem with the guy. So I don't, and the second wizard doesn't have any problem with that guy. So I don't know what his deal is. I don't know why he's upset and why he needs the cleric to be there to play unless I don't know. So we'll figure that out. So we go into the next game where that first wizard is not there. The cleric is still not there because he's working. They finish searching the dwarven forage. They find that there are some sturges. They beat the sturges. There's a few sturges. They find an orc shaman, an Eye of Gruumsh, and they defeat her and her two handmaidens. And then they find stairs going down, rough-hewn, cavernous stairs going down. So they decide they're going to go pursue whatever's downstairs. So they go down, 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 down. Okay, which takes them to an area where there are troglodytes. They see a couple of troglodytes trying to hide. They walk up to the troglodyte trying to talk to him, even though he's hiding. He's like a chameleon. He's trying to be, blend into the rock. The second troglodyte opens a cage where a bear comes running out. And the bear just attacks whatever it can see. So the players, they have to kill the troglodytes and the bear, and they do. And then they continue on. Oh yeah, I forgot. They also encountered more sturges. There's sturges everywhere. So they just kill those sturges. And then now we're in an area that's kind of cavernous, more rough-hewn, rocky, like a cavern. And so they follow streams, trying to go down stream passages. They go down other passages. They find a. What do they find? They find a large chamber, a very, very large chamber. It's got fungus growing everywhere. And they sneak through it, trying not to disturb the fungus because they don't want any of the mold to pop out or anything like that. And a couple of Gricks attack them. So Gricks drop from the ceiling, and they're the ones with like the snakes with their tentacle face. It's ugly looking, and they fight the Gricks, and the Gricks actually give them some damage, and they really. But the Gricks, they're no challenge for like 5 third level characters, and so they're taken out. And then on the left side, they see a cliff going up to a ledge, and on the right, that's the right side. On the right side, they see a cliff going up, and then on the left side, they see a cliff going down. And then in the front, they see some more passages. So they go over to the cliff going up that has like a little staircase on the left side. They take it up, and they find 12 dwarven sarcophaguses or sepulchres, and they 3 of them have names on them, and there's a big argument amongst the players on whether opening a sepulcher or a sarcophagus is grave robbing, and if that's good or evil, or should you do it or should you not do it. And they wound up not doing it. So then they go back the other way, and they go to the cliff that goes down, and they find a door before they go down on the side on the rock. So they find a door there, and it's locked, and on the door itself it's got Durgadin's mark, and Durgadin is the head smith in this forge. This is his forge, and they said, okay, this must be where we need to go. So they bust open that door, and they find stairs going down. And so there are other passages and the cliff that they haven't explored yet on this level. And then they found stairs going down. So I'm not sure exactly, and that's where we ended it. So I'm not sure exactly which way they're going to go or what they're going to do. But I prepared the next level, which is super small. So I actually prepared the next level after that as well. So I'm ready to go if they go too far. One of the players recently approached me and said, hey, can I bring another player? Because he knows we're filled to capacity, but she really wanted to come and play. And I was like, well, if the cleric is gone, which means the first wizard is gone, that's Noctis and the dwarf cleric Mike, and Noctis, which is Neo, when they're gone, that means there's only going to be 5 players. So yeah, if you bring her, it'll be back up to 6 and we'll be fine. Because I have a feeling that Mike hit the way our schedules are working at work. I don't think he's going to get an opportunity to come back to the game. And because of that, I don't think Neo is going to want to come back to the game. So we're going to be sitting at 5. And so, yes, she definitely can come. So tomorrow, she's going to come by, make a character, and I'm going to have to implement her into the game somehow. I don't have any problem. She's going to be down there, camped out, sleeping, exploring. She finds them, they find her, or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll be one of those where she's just standing there leaning up against the wall, and the party walks up to her and say, hey, you look trustworthy. Do you want to join our party? Like in the Gamers. I don't know if you saw that. All right. So, or maybe she was sent here. Oh, I'm thinking ahead. Maybe she was sent here looking for those missing adventurers, because they actually found a couple of missing adventurers, 3 of them to be precise, and they're all dead. Maybe she was sent here looking for them and just hadn't found them yet or something, or did find them and was just exploring around. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. She came from one of the guilds at Neverwinter, probably the Adventurers Guild. Hired her to come do this thing. All right, well, we'll figure it out, and you'll find out in the next recap. And I'm sorry this recap took so long. first of all, and took so long to actually be produced, but I kept putting it off or forgetting, really. Uh, but yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. I wonder what they're going to do. Are they going to go downstairs? Or are they going to go fully explore this level? I don't know.